Singapore for the very first time. How do you find? What do you know about Singapore and being in the Lion City for the first time?
Oh, thank you very much. Honestly, I don't know too much. We arrived last night at 1 a.m, so we had a long travel day. I'm up here to meet you guys this morning, so I don't know too much about Singapore. I'm hoping to, after our interview, to get out in the city a little bit and experience it. We only have a short window before we have to go to the show, so it's busy, but it's an honour and a privilege to be here. So, thank you very much for having me.
How would you sum up your time so far with the WWE since you made your debut in 2012?
It's been a whirlwind, a roller coaster of a journey. It's been fantastic. It's one that I wouldn't change, but it's been very busy, and it's been really, really cool. This was always a dream of mine. It's always my dream to be in the WWE. Growing up as a young child watching Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior on the television, to where I am now, it's really quite surreal and quite mind-blowing. But I'm very fortunate and very grateful.
How would you describe the transition from the level of talent in the NXT and as opposed to the ranks of the WWE?
Well, NXT is becoming a very strong brand in itself now, and the talent, the pool of talent in NXT is phenomenal. The guys are young, and the guys are hungry, and all they need is an opportunity up here. And I was in exactly the same position. I was in NXT, and I very much felt I was ready to make the next step, and all I needed was that opportunity. So I don't think there's too much difference in the talent between the two brands. I think the difference is, the demands up here, the schedule, and how intense it is up here is very different. And up here, I think another difference is the size. On the main roster, on Raw and on SmackDown, the guys are a lot bigger, and the guys hit a lot harder. And that's the main thing that I noticed between moving from NXT to the main roster.
You're arriving in Singapore on the back of just having finished second, or just having lost the chance to win the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
Is it still sting that you lost to Sheamus?
Yeah. It's a bitter pill to swallow. I'm still relatively new here on Raw and on SmackDown and on the main roster, and I would have loved to become Mr. Money in the Bank. That would have been amazing for my career. But that's the nature of the business. That's the nature of all sports. Sometimes you win, and sometimes, unfortunately, you lose. And I think how you bounce back from a loss speaks a lot for your character and your personality. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get knocked down, but I'm going to get straight back up again. And who knows? The sky's the limit. I'm very motivated and I'm very competitive. And this is just the start for Neville. This is just the beginning for me.
Tell us about your opponent in Singapore, followed by, apparently you'll be facing Chris Jericho in Tokyo.
Yeah. So tonight here in Singapore, I'm wrestling Finn Balor. He's a guy I know very well, even from our pre-WWE days. He's an incredible competitor. He's someone that's very similar to me in style and also in attitude. He's very hardworking, and he's someone that brings out the best in me. So I'm really excited to face Finn, but also to be able to face him here in Singapore for my first time. I think it's going to be an incredible contest.
And then Jericho.
Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho's a guy that I grew up watching. A guy that I idolized to a certain extent. Again, he's someone who's very similar to me. Someone who's smaller and wrestles the very similar style to me, the high flying junior style. So it is surreal that I'm going to face him, especially in Tokyo, in the historic arena like the Ryogoku Hall, right in the center of Tokyo, in a country where I very much cut my teeth. I spent 5 years in Japan for Dragon Gate Pro Wrestling, and that's kind of, it's the territory that made me the wrestler that I am today. So it's it's full circle to be able to come back to Tokyo and to face one of my heroes. But I'm ready. I feel I'm very much in the prime, and if Chris Jericho thinks that his experience and whatever is going to give him the advantage, then I think he's going to be sadly disappointed, because now's the time for the youth. Now's the time for the future.
I'm sure the Singapore fans are going to give you a heck of a welcome tonight, and I'm sure there'll be a tremendous response for your homecoming in the land of the rising sun.
Thank you. I hope so.
Talking about homes, you hail from Newcastle. So just to sidetrack for a
Yes.
little bit, you must be, I'm assuming that you're a fan of Newcastle United and the Jodies.
Of course. Geordie, born and bred. I grew up 10 minutes from the stadium, from St James's Park, the Holy Land, so to speak. And yeah, I'm very passionate. I'll bleed black and white. I love the Magpies.
Are you contented with the way things have been happening? Because the Magpies have been struggling. They almost got relegated again.
Yeah, well, thank you for reminding me. But yeah, it's been a rough season. It's been tough, you know, and especially when it came down to the last game of the season, you know, it was hard to watch. Especially, you know, I remember as a kid growing up and watching Newcastle of the mid-90s, who were exciting, who were very much contenders for the Premier League Championship, to where we are today. It's sad and it's frustrating, but you know, you have to hold on to the hope that they'll turn it around, and it's going to be a big summer for us. We're going to make a lot of changes in management, and also, you know, hopefully make a few good signings, and then hopefully turn it all around next year.
Talking about the United Kingdom, and I did pose this question a while ago to King Barrett, so I won't tell you what he said, but I asked him if you and him were to cast your respective rivalries aside,
Yes.
and form the new version of the British Bulldogs,
Oh.
with William Regal as your manager, and go on to dominate the tag team division, which I think needs a shake-up. Would you consider that? I'll get your answer, then I'll tell you what he said.
Well, you know, since arriving here only 3 months ago, me and Barrett, we've had our beef, so to speak. So I can't say that I have much respect for King Barrett and the way he carries himself. But never say never. You never know what to expect. And you know, if me and King Barrett did team up, I think, you know, we could be dominant, and it could be an exciting prospect. And you know, I'm a very proud Englishman, so to have, you know, William Regal at the helm would be quite a representation for our country. So, you know, never say never. But as of right now, you know, I can't see it happening.
Brilliantly said, and he had a lot of positive things to say about you. The fact that you've risen through the ranks, the level of athleticism that you've demonstrated, and yeah, he almost said the same thing. Never say never. It could happen, and it will be a real shake-up, and you guys can go on and dominate the tag team division.
Yeah, I think so. I think it could be something promising, but right now I'm not so sure if it's a possibility. We have to see.
Just one or two last questions. You've been defined as the man
that gravity forgot.
the man that gravity forgot.
Yeah.
The moves that you execute in the ring, the aerial maneuvers. I mean, obviously you're a trained professional. What is the message that you would say to anybody who's watching, if they even attempt these sort of moves at home?
You know, don't attempt it. What I do is a product of years and years and years of experience, of practice, and of being coached under the top coaches from across the world. You know, this is not something you can just go out into your backyard and practice, because it's called high risk for a reason. It is very dangerous, and I urge anybody who even considers trying this to restrain yourself and don't. You know, accidents can happen, and especially if you're unsupervised and you get hurt, that it's, you know, it's not the way to go. It's not what you want to do. You know, it could wreck your future. So just be smart, use common sense, and if you do want to pursue, you know, a similar path to me, go down the proper avenues and find a proper coach and a proper facility where you can train safely.
So who do you use as the benchmark as far as the high-flying stunts are concerned? Is there one person that you look up to and that you would like to emulate this particular wrestler?
Well, not so much the high-flying stunts, but I think Dynamite Kid is certainly an inspiration to me. He's a guy who very much innovated at the time in his field. He changed the business, changed the cruiserweight division, and he's a guy who I look up to, you know, a lot. And you know, I try to do the same. I try to stand out and I try to innovate. You know, arriving here in WWE, I try to be, you know, the fastest, most explosive wrestler you've ever seen, and I want to be different. I want to stand up from the crowd, And you know, that was very much something I learned from watching Dynamite and seeing how different he was.
Final question. The fact that you've already now, it's been about 3 or 4 months since the Raw after WrestleMania that you made your Raw debut.
Yep.
And like you said, you are rapidly rising up the ranks of the WWE. The top talents are definitely have taken note of you. When do you hope to actually be at the top of the mountain?
Well, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, and I'm not an idiot. You know, I know that to receive opportunity, it takes time, and you need to prove your worth, and that's what I'm doing right now. You know, I'm just working hard, trying to prove to everybody that I belong here and that I belong at the very top. So it takes time, and that's what I'll do. I'll take every day as it comes. I'll work 100%, try my best, and you know, for the future, who knows? Sky's the limit. I've got a very positive outlook, and I'm very motivated, and I'm very excited to see what the future holds.